What's going on, boys and girls? We're going to do a beef rib recipe today. We're going to slow cook it in the oven. I could cook it on the grill, but I don't feel like getting the grill out today and cooking on the grill. So we're going to do it in the oven. Going to cook it at 275 degrees. I personally prefer pork ribs, and you can do pork ribs the same way, but my wife doesn't eat pork ribs very much. So when I do pork ribs, I kind of have to do them for my staff at the office or something like that. But we're going to do beef ribs, so watch it and enjoy it. Alrighty, so we're going to start off with 2 slabs of these pretty beef ribs right here. Here are our seasonings we're going to use. Now, guys, you can be liberal with your seasoning on what you use, but the base is going to be the Tony Cachere because it's got the salt in there. Then we're going to use some paprika, some curry powder, some ground cumin, some mustard powder, some garlic powder, some onion powder, a little bit of, that's still cumin, and just a tad bit of cayenne pepper. All right, something I want to show you. One thing, and I don't always do this with my ribs, but one thing that makes them a lot more tender, if you remove this little sheath right here, this connective tissue, makes it better. And it's hard as heck to get it off sometimes, so you have to kind of start it and then just kind of pull it off the meat. But see, it's kind of thick, and again, I've done it both ways. But you want to pull that off, and it gives you a much better tasting. See how easy it comes off? But that right there, it cooks and it tenderizes, but taking it off makes them cook a lot better. And we'll do the same thing with the other one. Alrighty, so we got both of them pulled off. And again, you don't have to do that, but it really does. You'll notice a big difference on how tender they are. And you can do that with your pork ribs as well too, guys. Okay, now we're going to make a rub. And now the rub, your base is going to be, this has got your salt in there. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of this right here. And you don't have to be exact. 2 tablespoons. And you will sneeze using this Tony Cachere, guys. And I'm about to sneeze. Here we go. Now the rest of the ingredients, you're only going to use about a tablespoon of each one of these right here. So about a tablespoon of the paprika. And I'm not going to go through each and every one of them. And again, with the cayenne pepper, you might not want to use a tablespoon of that unless you want your ribs to be super spicy. So you may only want to use maybe a teaspoon or half a tablespoon. Alrighty, then we want to mix them all up here. Get it nice and mixed. Sometimes that mustard kind of gets chunky. I guess a little moisture might get in there. And this is going to be a really good rub on our beef. Now you're going to have to get you some heavy duty aluminum foil here. A lot of folks don't like to cook with aluminum foil, but now aluminum really doesn't go bad as far as it leaching into your food until you start getting up to 500 degrees. We're never going to go up to 500 degrees with this meat. We're going to cook this beef at 275. We're going to slow cook it. All right, now what we want to do is take some of our rub and put it all over our meat here. And you got plenty of it, guys, so you can be liberal here with this stuff. And we're going to do that on both sides. Just kind of rub it in here. Rub it in. And we won't go through the whole process. Now, once you get it nice and covered up like that, and I threw some gloves on because it was getting messy. You're just going to cover up your rib. Cover it up here. Make sure your foil is long enough. Wrap it up this way. Wrap it up this way. Make sure you go up too, because that way the juices are going to form on the inside of this thing. So you probably need to put it in a deeper dish, but the juices will come out of here on the top here. Alrighty, and I've got those in some Pyrex dishes, guys, because again, the juice is going to run out of these things when you start cooking it. We're going to set the oven for 275 degrees, and I'm not quite ready to cook them yet, so I'm just going to let that meat marinate with those spices on it. And again, you see how much you have left. You can use that for something else. You can put it on some chicken. You can put it on anything. It's some darn good rub. Alrighty, so we got our oven set at 275. Got one here on the lower deck in the back and one on the upper deck. And I would kind of crisscross them so that they're not on top of one another and they cook evenly. That's going to go for about 3.5, 4 hours, guys. Alrighty, guys, it's been about 2 hours and 20 seconds, and I'm just going to take a quick look. So it looks good. It's not quite done. You can smell it all over the house though, guys, but not quite done yet. No, so we're going to give it just a little bit longer, maybe another hour and a half. All right, so it's been about 4 hours and 2 minutes. We're going to check on the ribs again. All righty, this is what you want. You want the bones to be separated from the meat pretty much. Now the one on the top is actually cooking a little bit slower, but this one at the bottom, this one is done, y'all. This thing's ready. Alrighty, guys, I've taken it out of the foil. Now you can put some sauce on this if you want to, but I don't think you're gonna really have to. So we're just gonna take. I want you to see how tender this thing is. Look at that. Look at that. Fall off the bone. That is fall off the bone tender right there. That's going to be so good. It's almost too tender, which, you know, ribs can't be too tender. Then we're going to plate it all up. We got some asparagus, got some potatoes with onions and carrots, and a little olive oil and some spices, and some rosemary is also in there with those potatoes, and going with our beef ribs. And that's a quick meal, guys. It took about 4 hours or so of slow cooking at 275, but you can see the results. It's tender. Pork ribs come out the same way. You guys got to try it. Peace.